Hell, we'll even do this thing here. Just for you guys. You can see my palette, yeah? Okay. So, couple things. It's like spurts of not just inspiration, but like pushing the painting, cleaning up the painting, pushing the painting, cleaning up the painting. And so pushing the painting essentially is adding things. And when you add things, they don't come out exactly how you want them typically at first. But you're pushing the painting in not necessarily new directions, but just adding it and building on it and going in other directions, I suppose. And then you got to clean it up. So let's give them little noodle legs here. Maybe, I don't care if it's cartoonish. Cartoonish might be better. So actually let's change my idea for a second. Let's do some brown. It's like a red brown, a little orange into that brown. A little red. Back to the, actually I think this is burnt sienna. It's not quite the brown I'm looking for. Usually you got to add a little green to get that brown you're looking for. Very like traditional. Where can I put some brown? Okay. Just testing out the color actually. No. This is actually cleaning up, so not pushing the painting, but cleaning it up. But again, using the brown I got while I have it, just to see something right there that needs some tidying. We'll throw in a window, let sill in there. Like, add this. Someone can tell me what this is, I have no idea. But the window, not pane, but insert. And then it kind of comes out like that. This is still falling under the cleaning it up, cleaning up the piece, cleaning up the paint. We'll add a little purple, dark purple. See, just straight black to the brown is not going to work. Brown's a little more nuanced. It's, I wouldn't call it more tricky, but you got to figure it out, because it's not simply just orange and black to get brown. And it, even typically like brown straight out of the tube is hard to utilize. Browns usually have a bunch of colors to get like those leathery browns. Okay. I guess we're not going to do the shoes first. We're going to do like the noodly legs. Or maybe arms? I guess arms. We'll go dark gray first. Here's where you do that standard build up, right? You start out kind of this will be like the mid, maybe even closer to the darkest value. They're like very cartoonish. Okay. I got a bunch of palettes, that's kind of how I work, but so you get ideas throughout the entire painting. This isn't like a new idea, adding like the money symbol onto the bag. It just wasn't time earlier. Same with, I just put these teeth in Dan the Grouch. It's not Oscar the Grouch, it's Dan the Grouch. I put some teeth into him. And I saw these teeth happening long ago. And then they slowly appear. Dan the Grouch, R2-D2 mashup. Okay. This is, I'm starting to like him. He's looking cool. Maybe a little more detail here, maybe not. Let's do that actually. I did see this too. And not all my visions need to come to life. Meaning like not just because I have an idea doesn't mean it needs to happen. But typically with these, it's kind of like I just run with the idea of, okay, you want little noodly arms? Go for it. Kind of try not to, like with a piece like this, it's the opposite of like restriction and discipline. It's more like go for it, go for it. Normally you're like, that's not typically perhaps your best strategy. But with a painting like this, more is more. There are times when I have the exact opposite approach. Less is more. I think as the piece comes to a close, less is more will come back into play. Okay, just clean things up. So remember when I just first started, like there's building and expanding and creating, and then you got to clean it up. You can get lucky where it doesn't need much cleanup, but typically you need to work, like it's going to need like, best way to, maybe like 2 sessions, right? One to explore the idea, get it out there, and then another passing to clean it up, to finalize it. You're seeing that with these little eyes, like the eyes are in there. Okay, there's the idea, like let's have little glowing eyes in the dark. Now they need to be cleaned up. And I think I might be selling you a bridge when I say just another passing later. I think it's multiple. You can't, some of them don't need much. These eyes won't need much, but it's not going to be just one single passing or even 2. I'll have to hit them again and again and then sculpt them a little bit more. Now, as obvious as this approach sounds, I think it's good to really like clarify, because I think when you're trying to create ideas and paint from your imagination, you think you can just, okay, let me just paint Ralphie from the Christmas Story. Well, sure, you can paint Ralphie from the Christmas Story, but he's going to take multiple sessions, multiple different passes. Let's hit. But I think once you know that, then it's like, okay, yeah, you can paint Ralphie. You can add him into the painting. And it's going to take a number of different hits. Even this star, right? This star is the second passing. Kind of like a magic wand here. That's the second time I've touched the star. Second time I'm touching these like Sailor Moon type things in the hair. I don't even know what's happening here, to be honest. It'd be almost foolish to try to describe it. But regardless, it's the second time I'm hitting these bobs. So now I have like a purpley red. Let's get more red in there. And this just add a little liquid. Oh, I'm happy you can finally see my palette. That's a good move. We're just gonna add some shadow. So it's almost like a glaze instead of like a thick, but there's quite about 50-50, like 50% pigment color, 50% liquid. So it applies like a wash. And I've hit him many times. It's still not quite where it needs to be. So it just falls under like this needs to be cleaned up. So the idea is in place. You got this weird little Ronnie, Chainsaw Ronnie, and then, so I'm really happy with the concept, like conceptually, bravo, but needs to be tightened up. Your art is gnarly and I love it. Know it all. What's going on? Genius on the inside. Are you familiar with Chris Mars? What do you think of his work? Well, Chris Mars played in a band. He played in a band, I think, called The Replacements. I could be wrong about the name of the band, but I'm pretty sure he is part of the band, or was part of the band. So off the jump, what a really cool backstory. And then, yeah, he's been doing his signature style for decades. He's like probably an old dude now. And I watched I think like a Blind Dweller, who's an artist channel on YouTube. I think I watched a Blind Dweller call it documentary on Chris Mars, which I recommend. I recommend Blind Dweller's channel. He does really cool deep dives on all kinds of artists, old artists and contemporary artists, and I think does a really phenomenally engaging little show there. So that's what I think about Chris Mars. He is a contemporary artist of our modern day, and I think he's well established, and he has a signature style, and he's very creative. I think that's kind of what I look for in an artist. Like, there's skill level, and then there's creativity. And I put more into the box of creativity than I do skill. And Chris Mars is just like a very creative, I say he's also very impactful because he was kind of before his time. And I've seen, hundreds of his paintings over the years, like Papa. I think I've been following him since for a long time, following his journey without knowing him. Don't know him, never corresponded with him. But I think he's great. The Nats. So he's from the Nats, or the Mats. I thought he was from the Replacements or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's from. But I do know that he was in a band, based on, I think, again, the Blind Dweller told me that. So I just think like building stories is really important for art, and that just, you don't have to force that. That just happens through, as life goes on. Let's see here. He just has a cool story, and I think it makes me interested. Truth, I feel it's easy to be artistic. Creative is a whole different thing. Well, I think there's like you can get to certain skill levels that are almost unreachable. Like there's painters that are just like, I think you have to put photorealism at the top. Like there's painterly kind of, I would probably categorize these much differently than an art professor, but there's just skill level that is super, it comes with like technique and skill and mastery of the craft. Like, sorry, just getting a new reference here. And I think we should, like, for me personally, I do think being able to be a master painter, oil painter, and the skill is being able to replicate at the highest level. There's something in that. But then there's also something in the fact of if you can create something from your imagination or even like a narrative. And I think the goal would be to be able to merge both of those worlds, the creation element, like literally creating, and then the skill level. And I used to always say that, like, okay, I have these visions in my head, but when I paint them, they're not matching what's in my head. So I spent years and years and years trying to master my abilities to be able to articulate the visions in my brain. Because the better I can paint, the better I can vocalize my ideas, and the execution. It's all about the execution. Because you can have a really good idea, but if I'm executing poorly, I'm not really getting my message across. So that was up to me to like, okay, become a better painter. You need to figure out how to do this. And then you can, from there, the style happens after that. Because then once you do it so religiously for a long period of time, you'll realize like, oh, I paint like this. You can kind of tell it's my work, because like you get to a certain point where it's like, this is where, after learning comes your style. I think people try to look for a style before they've learned how to paint. I think that's a tough road. You gotta learn how to first come up with some idea. Okay, I want to do this. Okay, now you need to execute that. You need to bring it to life, and you want to do it as best as you can. And in order to do that, you need to learn how to paint. You need to learn how to bring this. Like, even if you took out painting and I have a really good idea, but I don't know how to. Well, you have to learn graphic design and Procreate, and if you did it on an iPad, digital painting, you have to learn how to do it so that you can bring your idea to life. I don't think I'm saying anything revolutionary, but it's just, that's been how I look at it. How I would tell myself is like, because if I used to paint like this all the time, these styles of paintings, you know, and now we're talking like years ago, maybe I don't know, 5, 6, 7. And it'll be fun for me to look at some of the other works that I did in comparison to this. See where I've improved. Oh, replacements mats, one and the same. Shade Ghoul, what's up? Know it all. I do graffiti, for the lack of a better term. You can develop skill over time. Letters don't take much imagination. The greats, however, create from nowhere, while the rest of us just imitate. Yes. Yeah, so I think though there's like imitation we feed each other. So there's a point where if you only get to a place where you're just imitating, that can feel a little empty. But if you imitate in order to learn and then grow and build from that, I think there's a lot of value in that, because it's like, even everything's imitated. Like someone teaches you how to mix colors, and someone teaches you how to do this style of lettering, as far as graffiti is concerned, then you're essentially copying their style, and you do it yourself, and you'll change up the words or the phrase, and then you'll start adding your own elements to it, and then you'll slowly depart and come up with your own style. And then you can do the same thing with your own style. Like you use your style and then you build off of it. And that's the next kind of phase. All right. I actually thought I'd be doing more creating right now. Instead, I'm kind of stuck on fixing things up, which I don't want to be doing. I want to try to wrap this painting up sooner than later. Yes, I just painted. I remember I took some art in high school, so if you count that as being taught. But no, when I actually started to paint and take it seriously, I started with abstract. So just throwing like buckets of paint on canvas and like learning what brushes did and what would happen if you added colors together. And then over time, I realized that I kind of had more to say. And that comes back into what I was saying earlier, where in order to actually land my message, I need to be able to execute better. So I need to improve so that my message can become more clear, what I'm trying to convey. And so I had to learn, and I'm always learning. I'm always watching, even just scrolling through my TikTok, I'll see like, I think his name's The Painting Coach. Love watching him block out paintings in 30 seconds and constantly just absorbing information and then trying things. These kinds of paintings are really good for that, by the way, because it's like, okay, it's a good idea. Grant me the like, okay, it's a good idea. Good job. That's a funny idea. It's satirical or it's witty. It's a good idea, or it's a good subject matter even. Like Ralphie's not necessarily my idea, but it's a good choice of subject matter, let's say. Now you need to be able to execute and bring him to life. Otherwise, it's kind of meaningless. People put a lot into actual conceptual art, like, you know, all the things that a lot of people laugh at, not just performance art, but like conceptual stuff, like the banana taped to the wall. It's very conceptual. So the idea is really strong. Let's grant them that's a good example, because the idea is really strong, but the execution is very minimal. You don't need it. It's all relying on the concept. So that's the opposite end of the spectrum. There's very little skill required. It's just conceptual. And I'm not really as harsh as, for example, what's his face? I'm not as harsh as, what's the guy's name? Justin Bua. Justin Bua really gets off on conceptual art. And I can see his point. There's sometimes when things are so absurd, it's pretty hard to defend some of the stuff you see online. But if you just approach it like, hey, I have a concept right now, like a lot of this stuff is very conceptual. A cat with just a smiley face, but I've already started thinking maybe I should paint like a realistic cat and give him a smiley face. So the concept is, I really like it. Really like the idea. I think there's a lot there. As I like to say, there's a lot of meat on that bone. Even there's a lot of meat on this bone. I like this guy. Dan the Grouch. Not very original. Okay, like, you know, you can be honest with yourself. But I still like it. I think it's funny having an R2-D2 Oscar the Grouch. I think that's fun. Will I ever paint it again? Probably not, but I'm thinking about it. If I had to paint it again, what would I do? So again, conceptually, I'll give it like a good grade. We'll stay away from the words like brilliant, but it's a good grade. Cool. It's a good concept. Now, if we can bring it to life with some sort of realism and cartoonish exploration that's done really well, well, then it's going to get, become a full piece of art. You have the concept and then execution. Everything in here is the same thing. okay, this is kind of like a pipe in wrapping around. Well, if you can execute it to where it's like, yep, that's a pipe, mission accomplished. Okay, I'm a little bit lost. I need a second. Let me think. So technically this piece is lying somewhere in the commission world, but I typically don't. Anyway, part of the ramification or the parameters is that it's kind of going to stay in the PG rating. So we're not going to, even with this skull, I won't make it too gnarly. More cartoonism. More cartoonish. Will make it a little easier to be received. I did warn my friend that it'll be pretty weird though. Are you sure? And then what I do now is I don't even, no deposits, no nothing, no commitments on either end. And then that way I can just paint freely. And then I typically show the people first. And if they like it, great. And if it's kind of not what they're looking for, great. I don't really care. That's why I don't really do commissions, because it's like, oh, I want this and then do this with this. Can't do that. Can't commit. I can commit for a day and then it just doesn't come, and I derail. I just don't have it in me to even for something that you think is in my wheelhouse. Someone asked me to paint it, commit, hey, can you paint so-and-so? I just can't. Even though I've painted them before, I just can't bring myself to do it again. It's really hard for me to commit like that, because I've just done stuff where I get totally derailed, and something that should take two or 3 days ends up taking significant, and I just don't like it. It's just not, it's not worth it all around. Even if the painting comes out well, I really work on a flow, vibes-based kind of, it's just how so this piece, they didn't ask for, they asked for only just a couple characters, or one character, and here we are, days in, and it's just continuing to go off the rails. Let's go with, Dingo Muffin. I'm pretty numb, but this brings me joy to witness someone finding meaning in the art of craft. I love paint. Thanks for showing up and putting it down. Appreciate you. Never commit. It's not worth the effort. Paint what you see or what you want or know. Take the money, and yeah, I try to do that. When I do get approached, I'm just trying to find this happy place where people, it's kind of hard. I think the biggest thing is people really think they're being supportive, and they are. So people are being like, hey, I really want, can you paint my dog? Can you paint my family member? I really, they're not thinking of it oh, I know that's not what you do, but will you, like, they're just going, hey, I want to support you, and I would love a painting of my dog. So I really don't look at them as being offensive to me. I just look at like, man, like I just don't do that. And so when I have to say that very frequently, but then I'm in the world now, in all fairness, people aren't typically asking me to paint their dog. In all fairness, they are asking me to paint something that's pretty absurd. So we got that going for me. But then I'm just like, I can't paint what you're asking for at this point in time, which means it's never going to happen. That's what that means. And I just feel like, oh, okay, so instead of saying that, let me say like, well, tell me some ideas. Tell me your ideas. And if I end up painting it, I'll show you. And in this case, this person was kind of hounding me, and I'm quite friendly with them. So I said, well, you give me your ideas. I'll try some stuff out here. Kind of take it into a crazy dimension. And if you like it after it's finished, you can grab it. That way, it's like you don't feel pressured. Like, oh man, it's not at all what I wanted, but I asked him to do it, and he didn't do it at all. But he's saying he did it. It's just a nightmare. I hate that. I will avoid at all costs. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. Because I really don't like that, putting someone else in a corner. That's not what I like. Well, you said you wanted a commission. I'm just over that part in my career. I can't handle it. Even I was working with like some bands, or like this band manager, and they were thinking about like doing rewrites or like redos, or like how did they frame it? Like editing. I'm like, it's a painting. It's not a video. You can't it's a paint. It's when I show you the finished product, that's it. Okay, fine, I can maybe move my signature or something. But other than that, that's not what I'm not, no. So I really try to, that's kind of my fault. You have to be really clear from the jump, like, hey, we can try something out. I'm going to present you with something. If it works for you, grab it. If it doesn't, then that's cool. It's not going to work out. Now, as a business, if from their perspective, maybe they can't really work with that. Maybe that's something they need to be able to manipulate and have their input in order to get what they're looking for. I'm not that guy. I'm just not. It drives me nuts. And no one's paying me millions of dollars, so I don't have to worry about it. I can just say, no, it's just not. That's not going to happen. But I am happy I kind of took on this piece because I felt like it would be easy to kind of use what I like to do and then just insert some characters that they're interested in. And then maybe, see if we can all win. If we can all win, then it's probably a good thing. And then sometimes I do have to, on the opposite end, sometimes it's kind of important not to shut off everything and just say no to everything. I try to be a little bit open. I'm not very good at it, but I try to marinate. Let me sit on that. Like someone will have a good idea or an idea in general. I go, okay, let me just sit on that for a while. We don't need to rush into anything. So I've been saying that more, like, give me some ideas and I'll sit on them. And I do, I really do. I love ideas. I just play with ideas all day long. So, and then there's people that have approached me with ideas that are exactly with where I'm at in life. And it's a really good relationship, like a really good, it just works. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. I'm ready for that. That happens from time to time. Rare, but it does happen. Where someone hits me up with a concept, or like, hey, can you paint so-and-so? And I'm like, yep, actually I can't, yes. Yes. It's like an immediate knee-jerk reaction that yes, I'm ready for something like that. So that does happen too. Just far less common. But I think I'll wrap up with it, put a button on it with this, is I used to just take commissions. Sure, yep, I'll do it, I'll paint it, yes. I used to do that. So I only know what I like and what I don't like by giving certain things an old college try. I just, over time, I'm like, oh, I really don't like doing that. It's not fun at all. I've actually painted people's dogs. Can you believe it? I've actually painted, portraits. But I am always perplexed when people look at this work and then say, can you paint my son? Like, really? You want me to paint your son like a ghoul? Like, I don't get it. But again, I can't be too harsh because they're just trying to be supportive. But I just think, like, oh, we're in two different planets. What do you mean paint your son? What is happening? Had a friend even, like, recently, an acquaintance, let's say an acquaintance. They're like, can you paint me? I'm like, really? Like, do you not see what I paint? Do you want me to paint you with 3 breasts? What? I don't get it. If I can paint you with 3 breasts, sure. Let's do that. If you're not looking for a portrait of you with 3 breasts, then I'm really not the right person to ask that. But then maybe that's me being a little bit conceited or like full of myself. Like, don't you know what I do? So that's why you can't be too harsh. People are just trying to be nice and kind. And you just have to let them down gently. So don't take it personally, and just be really appreciative. Like, oh yeah, maybe sometime maybe. That's how I have to. That's the best I got. Sure, yeah. Maybe, can you paint me? Yeah, maybe. So not right now, but we'll keep chatting about it. I have seen some artists that are like really well established and very in our genre, the Chris Mars genre. I'll leave their names because I'm only speculating. I don't know, but I've seen some artists where all of a sudden you'll see like one portrait pop out of nowhere after they've been painting like complete sacrilegious, insane work for literally decades, and then you'll see like this random one post of like someone holding a dog, and that just means that someone threw a lot of money at them. Oh, hey, can you paint me holding my dog? And he's like, absolutely not. Well, what happens if I give you 50 grand? Okay, sure, I'll paint you holding your dog with pleasure. And you'll just see the post and then never see it again. It's kind of like, it's just like it never happened. But kudos, good for them I'm speculating when that stuff happens, but that's my own, that can be, or maybe it's a gift for like a family member or something. But sometimes it's like, I'm not exaggerating, it's like taking like a gangster rapper and then giving them a flute and say, hey, now play the flute. It's as obnoxious as that for me inside. It's like taking like the Wu-Tang Clan and giving them all classical instruments. Okay, now play the piano and the cello. Okay. You sure? Like that's what you want to commission? Like, maybe it's sometimes it feels insulting because it's like they haven't really put any thought into it. So maybe that's why it comes across so like, I don't know why it can like feel weird. But again, you got to remember, they're just trying to throw money at you. So it's complicated. And you can't fault them for just wanting a portrait of them holding their dog. It's not their fault. That's just what they want. Paint BTS cooking dinner. Hang on, let me see. 1 second. Paint BTS cooking dinner for the Last Supper. Paint BTS cooking dinner for the Last Supper. What's BTS? Oh. Pay me to hold your dog. I can do it. I can do that. Okay, let me think. Artist dead. Cheers. Let me see here. Good to see you. See, so sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, if I'm not inspired to create something brand new or to add some additions, you have a house and then you can add like a detached garage. So you can add something to him or create him entirely new. And then when that's not happening, you end up painting like the ceiling. But you have to keep moving. So sometimes it's like you can get stalled out with like, oh, I don't feel creative. I don't feel inspired. Which at this very second, I can say that's kind of true. I'm kind of like spinning my wheels. I don't feel completely excited about anything at this very moment. It's fine. Well, then, like, that doesn't mean you stop. It means you clean stuff up. And that falls under that earlier topic of like, that's the execution. Everything can't be inspired and new. Things need to be cleaned up and worked. And so when something's just not coming, the only thing I did new today was add this stupid little arm. And you don't need to get caught up in how much of a bummer that is. It's more like, okay, well, no, it looks like we just need to tidy things up then at this point in time. And then we'll come back at a session later today. And maybe at that point, there'll be more inspiration or something to go off of. Or it might just be more cleanup. That's fine. Both are totally valuable. Because cleaning things up really starts to bring your vision to life. And so you have to be almost just as excited to clean stuff up as creating something new, or like adding on an addition to something. It might obviously be more stimulating to do, like, pull things in that are brand new and playing with ideas from the jump, like from the origin. But I think it's important to get really excited as much as possible to go, okay, well, that's not happening, so let's clean this up. Let's get this right. Because that's what brings it all together. That combination, that back and forth. There was a time where, like, for example, I remember, like, there's like these pipes. That's what these are supposed to be, like these kind of like pipes wrapping around the painting to some degree. In earlier works, like, they would get neglected, or I would work on them. They really wouldn't fully materialize or become realized. They would be a little bit loose. And that was kind of like a stylistic choice. Because I do remember times where these would just stay kind of as is. Like, nope, that's the painting, that's what it is. It is what it is. Now, that was a stylistic choice. In this piece, I just I really want to, again, because it's really falling into the commission category, I want it to be as presentable and finalized as I just have the energy for it, so go for it. keep mixing in a bunch of these colors all in the same kind of close together in the color wheel, but oranges, reds, browns. I kind of want the panels all to be different. Maybe these two might be the same, not sure. But also cut this pipe. Look up Jimin from BTS and you make a big money painting. Jimin or oh, you're like BTS, like the K-pop band. What? Yeah, no, I actually agree. I think that's actually not that far-fetched. Painting somebody from BTS falls into the same category as painting someone like from Friends, like the cast of Friends. I like subjects like that. I would almost paint them probably separately. But yeah, great idea. BTS band members. I don't have it. One of the things is I have to have some sort of landing point or like some sort of association or experience with certain subjects, like, or inspired by something. I really have, like, I'm trying to rack my, I have no sort of association. Even I don't know if I've ever heard a song one where I'm like, I could distinguish. Yeah, I can't think of anything that maybe in the mall I've heard something. I'm not sure. What's your favorite part change from the dinky robot? Did your favorite part change from the dinky robot with a stolen transfer? No, I really like how he's coming together. Again, I was talking Artist Dead. I was talking about, yeah, like as far as concepts, I really like that kind of. I think he deserves even his own painting to some degree, like some spin off of that. Because I feel like I just relate, like just this little piece of shit, little piece of junk, just trying to fit into the group. So you know, put on your hat backwards. And can I come? That's what he's like. Want to play with the big guys. Yeah, I like him a lot. He reminds me a lot of like something about my childhood, maybe. Yeah, he's cute. I like him and him. Really like my robots, and this guy's good. Don't know what's happening here. These are kind of like fodder. There's a lot of fodder, like meaning just like imagery for the sake of imagery. The narrative is like this clutter, like being trapped in my mind, like this small little space. Everything's jammed in it, and it's just like fragments. Everything from ghosts to like memories, and kind of remember things wrong as the older you get. It's like, I'm not sure how that happened, but this is kind of how I remember it. And then you realize that there's no way to really even confirm anything anymore. Like certain memories, you're the only one that remembers something. There's some things that are bigger than that, like memories that do impact more than one person. But these memories are all the ones that, like, oh, no one else, like I just have these memories and no one else can confirm or deny on the planet whether this happened or not. It's not even about confirmation. It's more like, this is how I remember it, and I don't even know if that's true. like as certain people age too, like I think that happens more and more, where it's like there's no one is able to confirm or deny certain things that you have. Like, well, I remember back in 1985 this happened, and there's no like records, there's no nothing, it's just like your word, but you're just having a conversation with yourself. You're like, I'm pretty sure Denise's car was blue. There's no way, like you could say, well, I'm pretty sure her car was red. There's nothing can stop, like, and then you're just the uncertainty, but you still just create these memories are just floating around in your mind. You're not even sure really if they're real or not. They're not absurd or anything, but they're just confused. Like even back to like the Mandela effect, all that stuff. I'm fascinated by that. I'm always fascinated. Like there's a lot of this happens a lot. I'm just fascinated by it. I'm far from even well read on it or understanding of it, but the idea of someone sees a crime, sees the criminal doing something, even pretty significant, let's say like a shooting or something, and the police are looking for the criminal, and you're just a witness, and you're like, yeah, he's wearing a blue shirt, red hat, drove a Toyota Corolla. You have like whatever memories you kind of have from the event, but then like they check the CTV and his hat's green and his shirt's orange, and you're just like, what? No, I'm certain that his shirt was red. I'm certain that his hat was green. Whatever, right? And that kind of stuff fascinates, because like how deep does that go? Where you're bending reality and you don't even know it. Like how often does that happen, and how, and then there's other times where no, like what I'm saying does not apply at all. You're bang on. You remember that the car was red, and it's clearly that the car is red. So I'm not saying this is always the case, but if it does happen, how often does it happen, and how frequently, and where does that happen? Anyway, that stuff fascinates me, because I'm just curious where I do that kind of stuff. Where does that happen with me? There's like, again, I'm so fascinated. Like there's a thing. There's that thing about an actress named Kathy Bates. She played this gnarly character in a Stephen King movie called Misery. It's an old classic from a long time ago. She captures an author, and she essentially tortures him and keeps him captive in her home. Okay, she wins an Oscar, I believe, for that role, if I'm not mistaken. And then I just saw her like literally like 30 years later being interviewed about it, and she was really bummed out because her mom had long passed, but she never thanked her mom or acknowledged her mom when getting the Oscar for that role. And then the interviewer is like, actually, you did thank her in your Oscar speech. So are you guys following me? She remembers that she never did. And you can imagine, this is like back in, there's not really social media. There are records of obviously the Oscars and stuff. And it's not that old where there wasn't footage, but I'm sure she just didn't get around to looking at it. You can clearly tell she's not exaggerating, or she's just she's an older woman. She's just talking to a reporter or an interviewer, and the interviewer says, "No, I watched it recently. Like I watched your acceptance speech, probably in preparation for the interview." And she goes, "You did like mention your mom, or you did thank your mom." And they ended up showing her in the interview, like, "No, you did." And her mind was blown. It totally like changed her, like a huge it blew her mind, like in real time. Because she always believed she never thanked her mom and so she regretted that. Like it ate her alive, especially when she would think about it. Like it's something that it was a pure regret, like something she regrets for the rest of her life, kind of thing, right? And then all of a sudden she found out that wasn't even true. This regret she's been holding for decades was a lie. Was an entire fabricated lie. And now she's like immediately like a light switch. It's been removed, it's lifted. She never has to carry that with her anymore. She never has to like think, oh, I never thanked my mom. No, she goes, oh, I did. So that like cancerous lump that just eats at you is gone, like a light switch. Point of that tale is like, where do I do that in my own life? Where does that happen? What am I believing is incorrect, fabricated, and just... And I think it might not be as frequent as I'm trying to make it out to be. Like it might not be in my everyday occurrence, but I just think there's tons of that shit all the time. And it's not like it's just an interesting thought process for like, no, Dan the Grouch had wheels and like arms and legs in the trash can. Dan the Grouch has teeth. Dan the Grouch looks like R2-D2, like a knockoff. Dan the Grouch has two big buck teeth. You know, Dan the Grouch. And I like inserting these like false memories into my own brain so that when I'm like old and have dementia, I'm like, you know Dan the Grouch. Everybody knows Dan the Grouch. We grew up watching Dan the Grouch. Beep, boop, beep. Everybody knows Dan the Grouch. Oh, you know what he needs? Here's some creation. Dan the Grouch. Dan the Grouch. He needs some tags. We'll do kind of the standard. Oh. Too much. So I got a base. I don't know what I'm doing here yet. It's kind of too basic, but let's see. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Everybody knows Dan the Grouch. Yeah, so what do we got here? Dingo Muffin. It's probably the stuff you feel most convinced of too. I think, I could talk about it honestly, like just ramble on about it for so long. I had to kind of stop myself. And there's so many like cool stories I've heard over the years where things are confused and other people's like stories and anecdotes. We might have telepathy instead of AI, but we need to be ready to use our powers instead of giving them to AI to dictate our usage. Yeah, I always wanted to have telepathy as a kid. Like I would love it. I remember staring at shit on a table to see if I could move it. And I mean, I tried. Not like, I really thought, oh, I have this power. I'm special. Maybe like anywhere from 6 to 10 years old or something. And I would put like a marble on the table or something on the table. And I want to be able to move it. Like if anyone can move it, I can do it. I still want to try. I want to try right now. Like, can I move? Can I move anything with my mind? My mind's so powerful that I should be able to move something. Man, telepathy. Interesting. I once heard some people are confident in their ignorance. I think ignorance is actually like a useful tool, because the older I get, the more I realize I don't understand very much. So just coming to terms with that is I'm pretty ignorant. I once heard someone say 80% of the things I've experienced have never happened. Yeah. Right. I think there's some truth in there, because we believe things Yeah, I can't open that can of worms right now. You have telepathy, you just don't know how to use it yet. Perhaps. Are you talking about the stuff where you can move stuff with your mind, or like read other people's minds? Is that the same word? Or is that different words? I think I can move stuff with my mind. I think I'm doing it right now, if I had to be brutally honest. Matching my hands to my mind is pretty far out. Like every movie from the 80s and 90s, you had the power inside you all along, and you just didn't know it. Telekinesis is move stuff, thank you. Okay. Yeah. I felt like I was, but yeah, telekinesis. I thought I had telekinesis. Sounds like a disease. I have telekinesis. Sir, what's wrong with him? Oh, he has telekinesis. Oh no. I know. A bad case of that'd be great if you called into work. Sir, will we be coming in today? Oh yeah, what's going on? Well, I have a really bad case of telekinesis. Definitely, they will not ask any follow-up questions. For sure, like a non-starter. Bad case of telekinesis. I got telekinesis in my knees. I can't make it up the stairs. Telepathy is reading minds. Got it. That's good. Telepathy. I think we can read each other's minds to an extent, right? But using like cues and stuff. Like there's a sense of telepathy and almost like common sense, especially for certain scenarios too. Like people's reaction is going to be like one of three. There's going to be one of three options for people's reactions. Telepathy is the ability to move it up the stairs without pain. In the same tone as sorry, I have come down with gay to escape the draft. Never ending story. Kind of hit a wall, so I think that's it for today. Not for today, but for this session. We'll hit this a little later, probably after lunch, because I need to get this wrapped up. This is dragging on. I just feel like it needs a little more, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Seeing what ends up happening. Okay. All right, appreciate you guys. Have you ever read? I've seen Never Ending Story, sure. Never Ending Story was like kind of partly raised me. Yeah. I just watched a really great TikTok. I even shared it with a family member of the recapping of the Never Ending Story, but the breakdown of its underlining meaning. It was really good. It's like a 4-minute long TikTok. Never Ending Story, yeah, big fan. Have you ever read House of Leaves? I think it's very much your vibe. I will definitely look it up while I'm eating. Look into it. It did set up my life. Yeah, there's a bunch of movies like that. Okay, House of Leaves. I'm going to actually look at that now because I'm going to eat. All right, guys, everybody, toodles.